Sudan is Africa's third largest nation, and the ripples of what happened inside Sudan seldom remain confined within its borders. At this moment, as we speak, there's a full-blown civil war that is raging across the country. General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, the chief of the Sudanese army, with 120,000 soldiers at his command, and General Mohammed Dagalo, a former Sudanese warlord who now heads the paramilitary group called the Rapid Support Forces, or the RSF, with 150,000 soldiers, are fighting a no-holds-barred battle. Heavy weapons have been used in street fighting inside Khartoum. Air Force has been deployed for bombings. An estimated 20,000 people have already fled from the country. And there's also an economic angle to this war as well, as Sudan happens to be the second biggest exporter of gold in Africa. And everyone from the United States, Russia and the United Arab Emirates are vying for influence in the country. Our next report gets you the details.
The Game of Thrones in the strategically located and agriculturally rich Sudan has claimed hundreds of lives. Thousands have been injured. Many people have been unable to reach hospitals, and in some instances, even hospitals have been shelled. There are 59 main hospitals in Khartoum, and as many as 39 are currently out of service. Thousands of residents have fled Khartoum. The city resembles a ghost town. Deafening explosions rattled buildings, and the Khartoum sky was blackened with thick smoke. Dwindling food and fuel supplies, lack of running water, and frequent power outages made desperate civilians huddle in their homes. The American-brokered 24-hour humanitarian ceasefire failed twice on Tuesday and Wednesday.
So there's a lot of people fleeing the city. So it's like a little bit empty. It's also Ramadan right now. So a lot of people are fasting and staying inside. What I can see from here is that people are leaving right in around the airport area and like area of heavy fighting. Then it's blocked off by soldiers and there's gunshots and snipers. And from here, you can't see any dead bodies, but I have friends who are in that zone and they can't leave their house and the electricity is out, no internet is barely working, and they're all kind of just staying away from windows and things because of stray gunshots.
So why did the clashes erupt between Sudan's military and the country's main paramilitary force, RSF? Well, it is a case of a power struggle between the two main factions of Sudan's military regime. The Sudanese armed forces are loyal to General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, the country's de facto ruler, whereas the paramilitaries of Rapid Support Forces, or RSF, a collection of militias, owe their loyalty to the former warlord General Mohammed Dagalo, also known as Hemedti. The central cause of tension between the two warring factions has been the integration of the RSF into the regular Sudanese army. Former autocrat Omar al-Bashir founded RSF in 2013 to crush a rebellion in Darfur. But Bashir himself was toppled by Burhan and Dagalo in April 2019. Following mass protests against 3 decades of his iron-fisted rule, the pair acted together again in October 2021. Leading a military coup against the civilian government installed following Bashir's ouster. That coup derailed an internationally backed transition and put the army back in charge. But it has faced weekly protests and renewed isolation. The Sudanese economy has plummeted. At least 125 people were killed by the security forces in protests since the 2021 coup. As Hemedti swung behind the plan for a new transition, it brought the deep-seated divisions with Burhan to the surface. The situation reached breaking point this past Saturday with clashes between the army and the paramilitary. Major geopolitical dimensions are also at play with different stakeholders, such as the US, Russia, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and other powers battling for influence. Even prior to the conflict, about a quarter of Sudan's population was facing acute hunger. The rapidly worsening security situation has only imperiled the lives of thousands trapped. Both the generals, though, are positioning themselves as saviors of Sudan and guardians of democracy. In a country which has experienced only brief democratic interludes, this latest conflict not only diminishes any hopes of a transition to democracy, but has created a humanitarian crisis which is only worsening by the day.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.